Alright. Hello, you people. Hope you're all well. Everybody okay? Welcome in here. Right, everybody okay? Hi, I'm a human. How you doing? So, there's this concept of a unified field of consciousness, and the idea that there is only one soul present represent a non-dualistic metaphysical perspective where all individual consciousnesses are viewed as expressions of a single universal source. This perspective often posits that separation is an illusion and that all beings share a common, interconnected, and in some philosophies, identical essence. Universal self, Atman, Brahman, rooted in ancient Indian Vedic traditions 1500 BC. This theory suggests a single field of pure consciousness constitutes the universal self. All individual consciousnesses are considered partial manifestations of this single source. Pretty much like, yeah. One soul, one infinity. The philosophy suggests that because infinity cannot be divided, there cannot be no multiplicity of souls in the absolute sense. Instead, one infinite soul reflects itself through billions of unique mirrors, individual beings. The one versus the many. In this view, what we experience as individual, separate consciousnesses is actually a single, universal consciousness experiencing itself through multiple diverse viewpoints. The receiver model, some theories echoed by physicist Erwin Schrödinger, suggest that consciousness is a singularity rather than being created by the brain. This model proposes that brains act as receivers, or, as some put it, transceivers of this universal consciousness. Hi Heaven, how you doing? Hope you're well tonight. Thank you for the like. What's going on in here? This chat is just, anyway. The holographic analogy. A popular analogy used to describe this is that of a hologram, where if you cut the picture into pieces, each fragment still contains the entire image. In this way, every individual is a fragment of the whole, containing the essence of the whole within themselves. Rico Weiler says, an organism undergone through change has transcended beyond the irregularities of the common man. What do you mean? Hit that like button, everybody. And it says, variations in understanding. Hello, Aman. Hello, Shiva. How you doing? So, what could you say that to disprove this then? I mean, have you got any better theory? Or are you just here just to talk shit? I mean, because all you do is just come in here and just talk shit. You're just like, you have to just kind of, I mean, wait, what are you saying? Word, nothing, burger, what you mean? Huh. Okay. So, individuality within unity. Some interpretations argue that while we are part of a collective field or one soul, we retain a level of individuality, personality, and agency. The role of ego. Many traditions teach that the illusion of separation is necessary to create a unique personality or perspective, essentially a distraction or game that consciousness plays to experience itself in new ways. The soul group theory. Under some metaphysical frameworks, individuals may have separate, distinct soul groups or higher selves, even though they all return to a singular collective source. Yeah, that's what Aurelius, I think, says about ego as the enemy. What would you say to that then? Oh yeah, I've heard about that, Vita, that Antarctica is actually quite high up, and that's why it's so damn cold down there, because it's on elevated land or something. Anyway, so let's look at connections to science and philosophy. Dangers of AI. Yeah, we can talk about that in a minute. Yeah, is everyone all right tonight then? Hope you've all had a good day. But yeah, I was out doing karaoke with some group earlier. Ego is just another form of idolatry. Well, some might say that ego is necessary to have a sense of like purpose, have a sense of importance, or some might say that ego is a necessary thing, but it's about becoming detached from the ego, not attaching yourself to the ego, but rather just seeing it as something that you have to have as a way to sort of it's hard to really explain, but basically yeah. Ego is an esoteric concept. What do you mean? I mean, when I looked up the definition, it meant something like someone's sense of self-esteem or importance. Well, to me, there's nothing wrong with having high self-esteem or a sense of importance. Hello, folks. C. How you doing? Hope you're well. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. Hello, Tasman Trady. Okay. So yeah, let's just get on to the rest of this thing real quick. What's not an actual thing? You're on about the ego. Well, somebody's what you're saying is that somebody's sense of self-worth is not a real thing. Is that what you're saying? Pride in your work/life isn't the same thing? Question mark. What is wrong with having pride in yourself? Like people say you should take pride in your appearance. So pride is I think it's a context thing where having pride is something that I think is good. We should just use that as a motivation if we have a sense of importance, that is something that can motivate us to live. Because I think if we had no sense of importance or sense of worth, we wouldn't probably want to get out of bed in the morning, because we would just see, what's the point? I'm not worth anything. I'm not important. Why do I bother? You know what I mean? Hello, Joshua. How you doing? What do you mean, Bohemian? Maybe you should listen when they said what? What are you on about? Ego can be understood by... Okay, what is going on? but like saying that I'm unimportant, but like we need to feel important, otherwise we're just kind of, I think it's that you need to feel at least somewhat important in life. I think. So I don't agree there. I mean, like otherwise you're gonna, like for example, if no one thought they were important, why would they bother to even do anything for anybody? Because I'm not important, why should I bother? No one thinks I'm important, so why would I? Like there are people who are important that they have a purpose. If you don't think you're important, then you're not gonna think you have a purpose in life. Like, I mean, come on, guys. I think this person's just trying to I can't be asked trying to argue about all that really and just, you know what I mean? They're probably just trying to antagonize. I can see when people are trolling kind of thing, when they're just, they're not here to actually discuss or anything, they're just here to antagonize. Whatever. No, I don't have a girlfriend now. Why? I mean, I don't know, maybe there is something to the hive mind theory, but I'm just going to get on to the rest of it. Dr. John Hagelin and other researchers have explored the potential for a grand unified field theory based on the idea that consciousness rather than just matter is the foundational intelligent field. Non-dualism. This aligns with Advaita Vedanta Hinduism, Advaita non-dual schools and various mystics in Sufism and Christianity who teach that only one undivided essence exists. Collective consciousness. This often links the idea of a shared consciousness on Earth, whereby individual actions like meditation can have a measurable impact on the collective, for example, by reducing violence. So this is where you could argue about the individual having some importance, like you could say in terms of like a knock-on effect, where your actions could cause a ripple effect in the world. So if you feel like you are of some kind of importance in your you have some kind of thing to offer to the world, then that is some importance, right? You are, of course, importance is relative, right? Some people you could say are more important than others. Like you could say like a doctor is important because they save fucking lives. To me, that's a very important thing in this world. Just get the fuck out of here with your spam. Right, it's just gonna get rid of it. Yeah, they're probably not really a serious person that's here to, but like I said, I don't think people would even bother trying to innovate. They wouldn't bother trying to help anything if they thought they weren't important at all. So if we had ego whatsoever, then now yeah, you could say that ego's an illusion or whatever, but it's like, what I mean? But I do think it's important to have some ego. Even if you're going to argue it's an illusion, maybe it's a healthy illusion to have in some ways. It's when it becomes hubris, where you have this inflated sense of importance and value, that's where it becomes dangerous. Where people start becoming cocky and they start becoming arrogant, and then, Anyway, how are we doing tonight, everybody? Love really annoying arrogant people in this chat normally attend. Yeah, I don't know, I'm just trying to ignore, if they start spamming, I'll just block them. Hit the like button, everybody. Makes sense. If nobody felt like they were valuable and could add to the world, we'd never have anything new. Exactly. That's what it is, right? There would be no doctors, there would be no nurses, there would be nothing. You have to feel a sense of importance. And so now you could say, well, in the grand scheme of things, you're not, but it's like, it's all relative, right? You have to at least feel some kind of level of importance. Oh, sorry to hear about that, James. Yeah. What are you on about? Don't show weakness. I mean, I don't know. I hear people saying about that guys shouldn't show weakness, because then people will sort of like take advantage of that. But it's hard sometimes. It's easier said than done, you know. People say, oh, don't show weakness, but then we're only human, you know. Sometimes we react to things. You know, sometimes we react when, you know. But channel your inner tapeworms. Weakness and vulnerability are two different things. Most people don't seem to realize this. Yeah. I think it's good to show weaknesses. Okay, it depends on the context. And like we're saying, the person was saying, weakness and vulnerability are two different things. But sometimes, though, if you show too much emotion, people can take advantage of that. You have to be careful who you're vulnerable around, and it's all about, you know, you want to try not to show that you're affected by certain things, if say like, because otherwise sometimes people will play on that and keep on trying to, yeah, no, we're only human, but it's like, but we have to try our best really to not let things get to us and not show that it's getting to you, because people can exploit that. Hello, Wondriend. How you doing anyway, Katie? Hope you're doing well. I'm doing fine, thank you. Hang on. I hope it's not one of these trolls again, but if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. Okay, TDP. I don't know, this whole immigration thing. I mean, like I said, legal stuff, I can be down with like legal immigration, but then there's all this illegal stuff. What's going on with all that, you know? Steph, yeah, no, it's just difficult sometimes. Sometimes I struggle with, like, when I see external situations and things aren't always going my way, and then I question myself, and then when I start questioning myself, then it's reflected back to me, and, you know, people start kind of seeing that, and then they sort of take advantage of that. Like, if they see that I'm getting down, then they sort of like, they will then, in some cases, you know, kind of try to confirm that in a sense. Yeah, I'm from the UK. Well, I mean, I'm in York in the UK. Whereabouts are you from? Thank you for the likes, everybody. Any advice on getting a girlfriend and where to find one? I hardly am social and don't know where to go. I'm not into online stuff, etc. Any advice would be appreciated, pal, and thank you. Hello, Andrea, good to see you again. So, getting a girlfriend, I would say, just, I don't know, maybe just, like, if you ever, like, one of the things that I found that I was able to talk to girls was, I would wait for a bus, let's say, and if there was a girl there, I'd just, like, talk to her or something, and, like, I've done that before, but it's just, I never really made anything happen, though. It was just, like, I remember there was one time I was talking to someone, I was, like, on my way home, and then maybe I could have tried to make something happen, but then I just didn't get around to it. But, you know, it's just, then there was one time where I did end up adding her on Facebook. I actually met her, but then I met her and I was like, we ended up just not really kind of connecting. Just wasn't really for me, really, and I don't think I was probably for her either, because we would probably have clashed a lot on certain things. And yeah, Bivy, how you doing? Oh goodness. Oh, Dudley, I'm from Dudley. Yeah, Dudley's Dudley. Anglo. Okay. The fuck is going on in this chat? Just gonna get rid of these stupid comments, you know. The fuck. Anyway, thank you, Steph. Hi, only Crumb. What do you mean? Behave says Dudley has an horrible accent. It's like with the Midlands, they all sound quite miserable to me. It's like quite it's like every day is a rainy day. Yeah, can I have a cup of tea? I'm doing fine, I'm just like kidding. It's just doing like the stereotypes and stuff of. Yeah, don't be mean, Dudley is lovely. It's a very, very great place. Dudley is, yeah, it's a very tremendous place. There's lots of people there, great people, tremendous people. Yeah, you'd be miserable if you lived near Birmingham. Okay. Hello, Finley. Dudley. Yeah. Hello, territorial. Oh, goodness. Hello, there's Donald J. Trump. I'm the greatest president America's ever had. Have you heard the accent from, what's SWAD? East Midlands. What do you mean, SWAD? East Midlands. I don't know. What do you mean by that? You mean South East Midlands, or what do you mean? Why? What's that accent like? Well, there's this guy who's Gary Lineker. Is in Leicester. He has this kind of voice that's doesn't sound very enthusiastic. It kind of sounds like almost like a bored version of Gordon Ramsay. I don't know, that's kind of what I got from it. Like a bored Gordon Ramsay. Staffordshire accent. Well, they've got Stoke-on-Trent. It's like, hello, I'm from Stoke. I'm Jamie Brown. It's this kind of a Stoke. It's just my mum's sister actually lived there for a while, and she actually picked up a bit of that accent while she was living there, because she moved with some guy around Stoke. So that might be how she picked up the accent so quickly. Hello, Luke Miola. Oh, really? Or do I? What UFC fighter? There's lots of UFC fighters. I've never visited the US, no. Do Glaswegian accent, I do one, I do. Is that where you're from? No, I'm from Lancashire, actually, originally. But I live in York now. Haha, yeah, it's a shithole, yeah. Yeah, I would have gathered, really. What's that, Luke Mail, or Chronic? Tom Aspinall, oh really? I don't know who that is. Nice to meet you all. Hope you've all had a good day today. Share the live if you can. Not a bad thing. Oh, really? I've had a lot of different comparisons and stuff. Yes, I'm on TikTok, KTY. Yeah, if you want to find me on TikTok, that's at Jamie Brown 1995, I think. Why? You on there? I will actually be streaming maybe on both soon once I've got another device. Hello, Session Head. Sausage! I love sausage! I love sausage parties! And it's not like what you're thinking. We just eat sausages. We have like mayonnaise on them. And no, I don't mean that kind of mayonnaise. We're just... What's going on with sausage? What's going on here? What the hell? Yeah, right, mate. And for money? Yeah, my name's Jamie Brown from Manchester. Newcastle, man. A fucking Geordie, man. Why, aye, man? Yeah. We alright, people? Hit that like button. Andrea, are you still there? What are you saying about Texas? Texas is a great state. What are you talking about? Texas is tremendous. Look, Ahmed, bottle of water. My mum has a strong leak Staffordshire accent. Oh yeah, leak. That'll be a bit like Stoke, won't it, really? Leak. Yeah. Is it different from Stoke's leak accent? But isn't it spelt L-E-E-K like the vegetable leek? I think, not leak as in like something leaking out. Hello Pamela, how you doing? Cheese and beans. Joseph says excellent. Excellent. Remember that excellent. You know what is it called? Burns or whatever it's called from is it Simpsons? What's that one? 1100 AD, what are you saying? How can she be from 1100 AD? Yeah, Mr. Burns. Yeah, that's the one, yeah. Yeah, excellent. Yeah, leak. Yeah. Okay, what's going on in here, right? I could do a Canadian accent, eh? Do you like to say E or only E? You want some maple syrup, eh? Tastes so great, eh? Oh yeah, no, what's Charlie sausage? What's going on in here? This is just ridiculous. I'm 30 years old. Oh goodness. I don't know what's going on here. I feel like I lose brain cells every time I come on here. The brain rot stream. Oh yeah, there's a lot of brain rot out there. Hello Mike. A lot of AI brain rot. Hello Milan. What are you talking about? I used to go on Xbox and PlayStation, but I haven't been on any of that for a while. But yeah, I just haven't got back into it. Yeah. It can end up being quite time consuming. You get really deep into a game and then hours and hours can go past, and you've done nothing. Nothing in the real world. You know what I mean? Hello, Productions Lord, how you doing? Hope you're well tonight. Nice to meet you all. What have you all been up to this weekend? So yeah, so I was looking at this thing on consciousness and stuff like that, and whether there's only one consciousness, or other people, me in other lives. So like other people as different perspectives. So saying if this model holds, other people are analogues to other characters in a dream, or different points of view from which the same entity views the world. They are the same essence or soul viewing existence from a different perspective. I've never ever played any video games. Can't stand them. Oh yeah, welcome back, Stargazer. So, if this theory is true, then how would you explain things just happening from say, is this something that was designed to happen ahead of time, or what? Hello, Adam. Explain how unexpected things occur. Okay, see you later, Katie. What kind of dog have you got? Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out? So, what's this? The theory suggests there is not a multitude of consciousnesses, but one universal consciousness, experiencing the world from numerous diverse points of view across time and space. Dream analogy. Just as in a dream, you may perceive multiple separate characters, yet all of them are generated by your own mind. This waking life is considered a projection of one universal mind. Reincarnation / multiple lives. Reincarnation can be viewed as the same single consciousness inhabiting different bodies, taking on different lives as a way to experience all possible variations of life. It was about to talk about the illusion of separation and stuff, so just like how unexpected things occur. So let's have a look at this. So hope you're all well tonight anyway, people. What's monad? Do you mean nomad? What are you talking about? Yeah, anyway, so localized awareness, the veil. Although everything is unified at a fundamental level, the human mind operates within a limited frequency or perspective. This veil or illusion of separation is necessary for the experience of individual life, preventing you from accessing the thoughts, memories, and future actions of other selves simultaneously. The script of the play. Some perspectives suggest that the universe functions like a play where the unified field or God absolute is playing all the parts. The unexpected is simply the unfolding of the drama that the localized conscious mind does not know in advance. So maybe that explains that then. Multiple potential outcomes. The unified field contains all potentials for outcomes. When you, as a localized ego, interact with the world, you are interacting with other parts of the same consciousness, but the specific trajectory of those interactions is not predetermined to your conscious mind. Anyway, flat Earth, I don't believe. Are you a flat earther? Maybe it's only unexpected because we forgot we had imagined it at some point. Yeah, good point. It's like with dreams, it's like, when people have dreams, is that those are things that the subconscious mind might have picked up or something, and these are things that can, you usually you've been thinking about it, or it's been something deep in your mind somewhere, and we're picking up information, and maybe this is information from this ether or whatever you want to call it. It's just who knows what's going on like with it all. It's just anyway. Hope you're well tonight. No, I'm not. I wish the planet was flat though. Why would you wish it was flat though? Who would wish it was flat if it's not? No, because even if you step in front of a bullet for another, it's because you would feel better dying for them rather than them dying. Ergo, you're also doing it for you. Yeah, I've heard about this whole thing about selflessness doesn't exist or something, because I remember someone was saying that everything is somewhat selfish, because even when you're benevolent, that you're doing it for yourself ultimately, because yeah, you want to help others in certain situations, but you're also doing it because you want to do it. Like, anyway, a desire we didn't pay too much attention to, possibly, yeah. So that could unfold at some point, and some people talk about we're tuning into whatever frequency, and then that causes certain instances to arise, like other people or things like that. That was thinking what? Sorry. Hello, Gainer. How you doing? Hope you're well tonight. Nice to meet you. If anyone's new here, hit that subscribe button. That would be really appreciated. And Finley says, look into the monad and Gnostics. Gives a theory on consciousness. Yeah. I've heard about the idea of God splitting himself into billions of pieces as a way to experience in different ways, experiencing consciousness in different ways. So that could explain things, but I was thinking I used to think that it meant billions of separate consciousnesses, but maybe all consciousness is unified and it's all connected to the same essence, perhaps. Well, it's not I'm obsessed, it's just, I like to ponder things is what I do. I like to think about, what is reality, we'll never, probably you could say we'll never truly know, but I like to kind of ponder on philosophy and stuff, so, hang on, so what was that Stargate? Selfless, oh yeah, the whole thing of selflessness, because is there ever such a thing as selflessness? But then it's even other people are self in the sense of the spiritual oneness, that you actually helping others can actually be something that makes you feel good. No, not from Manchester. I'm originally from Blackburn, but I live in York now. It's something worth obsessing over. Good. Hope you're all well, people. I'm not forcing anything on people. I'm just talking about philosophy, and people are entitled to believe whatever they want to believe. Okay. I'm probably just going to get rid of these stupid comments and stuff. They're not serious, are they, enough, these people? Just imagine the power of the collective mind resonating on unity, peace and love. Exactly, that's the thing, isn't it? That maybe if I can just kind of believe that the world can become unified, then maybe it can. But maybe it only takes one individual to make it happen. And maybe that's what I'm here to do. Maybe it's just about time that this world all kind of shifts into more of a higher frequency. And because all this chaos happening, and maybe that's ultimately what I'm here to do. But some might say that that is a delusion or whatever, but sometimes it's good to have certain... In fact, isn't it in the law of assumption they do tell you to be kind of delusional? So it's like, my logical mind would say, no, don't be delusional. Don't think that you can do some ridiculous things. But then, how would you know? Like, there's people that were probably, you could say they were delusional. Like, say, like someone thought that, like, you know, like the person who invented the TV, for example, or the person who invented the computer. They thought that this is going to be some invention that's going to completely revolutionize things. And look what happened. You know what I mean? They completely revolutionized how people live their lives. And it just came from a thought. It came from an idea. So if I have some idea that can completely change how the world kind of is, because it all comes from the internal of like, if I just kind of operate at a higher frequency and one of a more positive, more, one of abundance and all that, then, I mean, I can sleep, yeah. Why? You can't sleep. What about the gods? What about all the other gods? It's exactly why you're here, as many others are. What do you mean? Oh yeah, I've seen you before about this whole spiritual oneness and all that, and yeah, so where are you from anyway, Nessie? I saw you put a comment on a video or something. But yeah, just I want to like have a more positive view on things really, and it just can be a bit yeah. Hello Jay Biggs, how you doing? Sometimes I just get things get me down sometimes, but I'm trying my best, What scares you? What do you mean, what is... So exactly why you're here, as many others are. What did you mean by that? Are you still there, Nessie? So what's your name, Nessie? Is that Vanessa or something like that? Full moon keeps me awake. I thought the full moon's already gone or something, or... But could you say that might be some kind of self-fulfilling prophecy then? If you believe that the full moon's going to keep you awake, then maybe that's going to be true for you. Like the power of suggestion. If you're told that the full moon's going to have an effect on your brain, then if you believe that subconsciously, then maybe it does. So then maybe there's this kind of like, I'm wondering if it's a kind of, almost like a kind of mass psychosis type of thing, where if enough people, hello Dagon, how you doing, I hope you're well, if enough people believe that a full moon's going to affect them, then what happens is a certain level of psychosis or whatever you want to call it happens because they believe it's going to create that, then a critical mass of that ends up spilling over into the rest of society, where they kind of end up becoming like that, almost like the 100th monkey effect, where at a certain level it just kind of spills into the rest of society. So is that really something that can, does that make any sense? That maybe this whole thing of full moon, does it really have any sort of like intrinsic kind of property that can, hello Martian, how you doing? Does it really have any sort of intrinsic ability to affect someone's energy, or is it a lot of it down to suggestion and plus the thing of societal kind of, I don't know, it's just something I was just thinking that with the whole idea of self-fulfilling prophecy, that might sound a bit of a far out theory, but if there is something to this full moon stuff, maybe a lot of it's in people's head or something, perhaps. That if you give it power, then it's going to have power. And if a lot of people start acting off because of it, it could cause a ripple effect in society to make everyone else feel off. It's, because these things could, let's say if 10% of people believe that they're going to go on the full moon, that might be enough to affect a lot more people. So we've got to be careful what we give energy to, I think. Like, does the moon really affect? I mean, you could argue that there might be something there, but is it really enough to like cause everyone to go crazy? And yeah, the placebo effect is what I'm saying, like a self-fulfilling prophecy. What do I think about Marx? You mean Karl Marx? I haven't looked too much into Karl Marx. I mean, I've heard about Marxism, but it's like, is it really practical though? I was talking about, capitalism and all this kind of stuff before, and is it really practical to go into like communism and all that? Because you could argue that capitalism has led to a lot of innovation in the world. So it's one of those things, right? Now, some might say some of these innovations have been negative, but it comes down to your own perspective on things. It's just like, whatever, just get rid of that. Communism is kind of utopic if you look at it in the wrong way. So how would you kind of see it then in the right way? Stargazer says interesting, but it has magnetic pull on water body. I enjoyed the creative high energy at full moon. Yeah, some people say that the sun and moon are like kind of opposites. Like the sun is this kind of warm, glowing energy, whereas the moon being a cool, more dull sort of energy. That you see with the yin yang sign, with the the whole duality thing. But doesn't that sound like a bit of a paradox? Is that if we believe like in duality in nature, but then consciousness, they talk about non-duality. So can that coexist then, or is that a contradiction, or what do you think? Because they talk about non-dualism with consciousness, but I was actually thinking that there might be duality in terms of like the whole sort of mind matter thing, as in like the soul and material world, as in like maybe there needs to be a material world for a soul to have any sort of meaning, and there needs to be a soul for the world to have meaning. Like you can't have one without the other. So like you have to, because it's this whole thing of like where they'll say, if a tree falls over and there's nobody around to hear it, does it make a sound? Now some might say, well, that's some hypothetical scenario and we can't prove that there's ever anybody not there. But the point is that sound is something that we can observe, but if there's no one there to observe it, like then there is no sound, like there is no, there is nothing to observe. So like, yeah, basically, unless we're to believe somehow that trees are sentient themselves, but that still proves my point that there has to be sentience at the center of this universe, that consciousness has to be first. It has to be, but then you could say that material also has to be as well, because like if there was no material or anything, then what would we be conscious of? What could we possibly, for example, if we don't have a body, or if we don't have, and there's no material world, there's nothing to experience. It would just be a void. We won't have thoughts, we won't have anything. So, yeah, so I've been thinking about things like the whole duality and non-duality, and yeah, the duality integrates to become one. So what you're saying is that it's almost like a paradox then, isn't it? That duality is like oneness or something. Well, they say how you can't have an up without a down. But what you're saying that it's an illusion of separation, that they're just two sides of the whole. When you look at it from the whole perspective, that like you could say like every coin has two sides, but there's still two sides of the same coin, and it's like a wing, like a bird has two wings, but they're just two wings of the same one bird. They're not separate. So that's what you're saying. You just articulated exactly why you're here some minutes ago, even if you're not ready to fully believe it yet, for the consciousness mission. Can you explain more? As you're just like listening and you're kind of I'm just trying to understand what you're talking about. But maybe if you want to talk to me like offline or something, and we can maybe like go more into this stuff if you want to explain a bit better, because sometimes things are hard to explain over a friggin' live stream chat. Heads always wins. She's probably a hippie. Well, yeah, I was looking at that. She kind of has that sort of, oh yeah, New Age. Yeah. I've seen like, there was this like, I remember there was this woman who was like, well, she did come across a little bit like that, and she actually called herself Free Spirit or something, but she was like some kind of, I don't know, I think she had some like issues going on, but she was, she actually invited me supposedly to go and stay with her in Canada, but it was, yeah, that never happened, basically. It was, well, partly because that was around the time where all that kind of 2020 shit went on, and that was, yeah. What are you saying, Sandy? Anyway, but, what's that? Yeah. Anyway, so basically, a lot of people are not gonna really resonate with what I have to say, and that's fine, I'm not here, like I said, I'm not here to push my views onto people, you know what I mean? I'm like, because everyone's gonna be at a different point on their own journey. Everyone has a different way to understand the world. And the thing is, if you find yourself getting defensive about a certain idea, then that's where you need to take a step back. Because I found myself in the past where I start getting defensive, and you have to take a step back and think, okay, maybe I'm getting too invested into this. Maybe I need to just take a step back and just, take a breather and just kind of, because, you could say this is the ego or whatever, because, like, people get attached to their beliefs and stuff like that, but I don't really want to get attached to any belief. I could change my belief and believe in something else, because if someone like told me this a while ago, I'd probably think they were crazy, But here I am with this kind of perspective on things. Why are you talking about her as if what you're talking about, Stargazer? Who are you talking to? What do you mean? What's going on? Are you on about word ways? I don't know, like, what is he doing? Little Fujio, how you doing? But I guess some people like to just observe and kind of watch in the background. I guess they're just trying to kind of, sometimes, they say like, those with the most to say oftentimes have the least to say, paradoxically, as in like, they have so much to say, but it doesn't mean anything, is what I'm trying to say. Like some might say it's just yapping. Now, some might say that I'm just yapping. I'm just here to share my thoughts, but sometimes people observe in the background, is what I'm saying. They're more trying to just take in information and process it. Because if people get too kind of caught up in chatting, and they might miss certain things, right? They might miss context if they get too caught up in the live chat. They're more there to try and kind of contemplate things and observe, really, rather than just kind of having much to say. A video on New Age. What do you mean I have a video on New Age? I mean, I did do that, but I do feel like some people are grifters on that, and is what I'm saying. And I think that it kind of gives, you could say it gives spirituality a bad name, which I don't like. I don't like it when people say stuff like, oh, if you do this thing, then it'll, but you've got to buy my course though. Or if you say this thing, if you do this affirmation, but you've got to buy my course. You know what I mean? Like, why does everything have to be behind a paywall or something? What exactly is New Age? I think it's just, people refer to like things like New Age spirituality, I guess it's quite a vague kind of umbrella term of like just ideas of things like more sort of, what do you call it, more metaphysical concepts and stuff like that are not necessarily proven by science, I guess. I would think of it as in like things such as, for example, when people talk about astrology, or people talk about like consciousness beyond the scientific understanding of it, as in like that, where they might see us having souls, maybe, rather than just that consciousness is a byproduct of physical matter. You spell it as Newage. Newage. What's Newage? They're always the same old age. We just changed the clothes. Well, they talk about like New Age as in like this whole age of Aquarius and all that kind of stuff. Like that we're moving into a new age of enlightenment or something like that. Going from the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius. and that there's this whole kind of spiritual kind of renaissance, if you will. That's what I think some people believe. But there's some people out there to try and kind of prey on people. And now, I'm not saying that, that it's wrong to be making money and stuff. I just feel like some people are just preying on people's or their desperation, and they're just kind of, sometimes they could be charging a ridiculous amount of money for consultations and things like that. So I don't know. Like if they're telling people that they can make £1 million but don't have to work for it, or if you just believe it's going to happen. But the thing is, we have to actually work at things, I believe. Hello, Barry, how you doing? What you've been lied to about? I mean, we've been lied to about a lot of things, I believe, but basically, I feel like both the like religious view and the scientific view do not really fully explain everything. It's like we're given like these different options. It's like, either you go to like the the scientific view, where it's like, yeah, science can be used to prove a lot of things like natural phenomenon and stuff like that, but then religion is then sort of like people sort of like when people feel like there's something more to life or something, they feel like, there must be something more to life than this kind of random chaos, and so people end up becoming more religious in a lot of cases. Then you've got the more spiritual or more new age type of people who sometimes people get sucked into different rabbit holes, like I said, sometimes people get sucked into the whole astrology thing, and they're looking at things like tarot cards and whatever. I don't believe that people should probably use tarot cards to predict the future, because again, it could be some self-fulfilling prophecy, and if someone says something negative, and then you believe that, then you might be more likely to make that happen. If you think, this person's going to leave me, right? Let's say you do a tarot card and you ask it things like, is my marriage going to last? And then they say, it's not going to last, they're going to cheat on you or something like that. Well, if you start to believe in that, that's actually probably going to be more likely to happen, because your insecurities might then start to cause friction, which is going to make them more likely to end up doing that and leaving you. So, or they're either going to leave you, but it's like, so whatever energy you're putting out there can be then sort of affects the reality. Money is killing the supposed happiness that should come in mind autonomous. What do you mean? What you're saying? Could it be organic is what is coined? Or what you mean organic is what is coined? What you're saying? Everything is organic and not purposely created. I mean, as in like, maybe we've entered some kind of game or some kind of something to learn. We're here to learn. We're here to learn through different experiences. So it sounds like you're putting words in my mouth here. I'm not saying that there is no purpose to being here and that there's no kind of purpose to the universe. Maybe collective consciousness created the purpose, created the, I don't know. But I don't think God is necessarily infinite, but I think there's because I don't think that I am infinite. I think there's I mean, you could say there's infinite potential, but as in terms of maybe it'll experience itself in over an infinite amount of different ways, perhaps. But I'm wondering if consciousness started off quite basic and then just evolved into more complex consciousness over time as it. I don't know. I'm wondering if that's the whole purpose of procreation. I was thinking some crazy idea that what if the purpose of procreation is actually to evolve the species to make it more advanced over time, therefore advancing consciousness to higher and higher levels, because maybe it started off as a very basic form of consciousness, which then over time through more procreation led to adapted genes that became more and more advanced, and therefore the universe becoming more and more advanced over time. I know it's a crazy theory, but yeah. People can connect from around the world this easy. How cool. But let's skip. Okay, what you're saying. The name of God is I am. Well, I'm basically saying that maybe religion and philosophy can be sort of come together. Science, philosophy, religion can sort of like come together as a sort of unified sort of thing, right? I mean, what I'm saying could be seen as like almost like a theosophy, if you will. The like perspective of like kind of spiritual oneness, God being not separate from ourselves, but rather something that is within all of us. Because from the religious point of view of like basically that God is everywhere, they say, right? God is everywhere. God is, what do they call it? Omnipresent, which means he's everywhere. Well, if he's everywhere, then that means he's within us right now. So how can he be everywhere, but we're not part of God? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, how can we be separate, but God is everywhere at the same time? Can anybody explain that to me? Because someone actually, I think, made that point the other day. Because would that not imply that we are a part of God? I mean, the concept God was needed thousands of years ago in the name of unification, ruling, safety from the very us human, and those so-called rewards, promises, how to sweeten on top. What you mean? What are you saying? Keep your perverted God out of me. Well, I mean, if you don't believe in that, that's fine. But you sound like you're getting quite defensive. Like I was saying, if you start getting like aggressive with it, that sounds quite defensive. If you know for certain that your God is the real God, then you have no need to, kind of get like that, But I don't know. I'm not perfect myself, right? Sometimes I would get quite passionate and start, sort of, you know what I mean? Okay, Fujio. Right. Okay, what time are we on? Yeah, I'm gonna restart the live, guys, and I'll be back in a minute. So yeah.